of a sudden, I found myself in love with the whirl. So there was only one thing that I could do, was ding-a-ding-dang, my dang-along-ling-long.
And that's just my own unbiased opinion.
Well, I mean, it was successful for you for quite some time.
Well, no, I'm just saying that amongst all wrestlers. I mean, there's definitely a brotherhood of amateur wrestlers because we go to college, we know when we leave, there's no NFL, there's no NBA, there's no profession to move on to. So when we leave college, you actually have to have tangible skills to go back out into the workforce.
And they took it out of the Olympics.
Yes.
Which is a tragedy in and of itself.
Yeah.
About not this this was the first Olympics, I think. Summer. It's Summer Olympics, right?
Correct.
It was the first Summer Olympics they didn't have wrestling. They took it out. I don't know why. They kept like ping pong in, and some other sports that make no sense. Or not even sports. Like, you know what, the one I just don't get? What is that one where they do the thing?
Oh. Yes.
The ice shimmy. The hell is that?
It's with
How can they call that a sport but not wrestling? You know what I'm talking about.
That sport's really big in Canada, though. I know what you're talking about. Where they push the thing down.
I'm not disagreeing that it's not strategic in nature, but so is pool, playing pool and playing chesses. What's it called?
Curling.
Curling. What the
yes.
hell? You know what the thing is with curling? It's like an accident. You have to watch it just to see how ridiculous it is. I understand their strategy behind it. Trying to get it in there properly in the right place and all that. But if you compare that to wrestling and say one's a sport, and one's not a sport, or maybe it had to do with ratings, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Is curling a sport? A sport.
Oh, don't make him comment.
Yeah, that's...
Well, he doesn't have. It's not like he has a curling following, do you?
No, I wouldn't think so. It's again, I always tell people I'm not exactly everyone's choice of matter because I'm an acquired taste. I tend to be a little bit too blunt at times.
Okay, so curling is for Canadians.
It's big time for Canadians.
Oh, let's just call it that.
Yes.
But they took wrestling out, which is a tragedy to a lot of people, not just in the wrestling world.
We got to look at the original Olympic Games. You had basically two sports: track and field type events and wrestling.
Right. And I don't think they ever give an explanation as to maybe they did as to why they took it out. It's unfortunate, nonetheless.
It's a tough sport to watch because a lot of people don't understand how they're scoring points.
Yeah, it's not a ball back and forth.
I'm aware of 5 or 6 different times that throughout my career and knowledge that they've tried to take amateur wrestling out to a pro level and they've all failed. It's just because it's too complicated. People don't understand 1 point for this and 2 points for that, and I can have appreciation for it only because I do it. But like I said, when most people watch mixed martial arts, what is the most boring part of the match? When they're down on the ground. You ask any spectator when they're down on the ground, unless they're going Donkey Kong with the hammer fist into someone's face or something like that. Sure, the crowd is a little crazy then, but they don't understand when they're seeing them jockeying for arm bars and leg locks.
You have to really know the sport.
Yeah,
I would say that most people don't know the sport well enough to. Even the referees have to pay attention to this because you and I may recognize that they're going for a certain move or they're in position to get to the next position to get to a certain move, right? Mm-hmm. But even the refs are cognizant of it, meaning if it doesn't get the crowd going, they'll slow it. They'll stand them up pretty quick nowadays. Depending on what ref. They all do it differently. McCarthy's out of the game now. He's a Bellator announcer, but it depends on discretion, I suppose.
Exactly. If you have a referee that's a little bit more ground-oriented, he might allow you a little bit more time, whereas someone else might stand you up a little bit quicker.
Who would you say you equate yourself to in today's era? Who fights most like you and that is, in the midst of their career?
I really don't watch enough of it to even make
No.
that kind of a comparison. The unique aspect of Dan Severn is this. I did 2 training camps in 20 years. Once for 32 days, once for 35. If I would have took it a little bit more seriously, I might have actually made something of myself.
Well,
I say that as a joke, but I mean that sincerely. Because UFC 4, I trained for 5 days with Al Snow down in Lima, Ohio at the Body Slammers gym, a professional wrestling gym. Cages and gyms with cages did not exist way back then. The only cage was the UFC's cage. So I had Al Snow and 2 other professional wrestling wannabes and 1 pair of old beat-up pair of boxing gloves that those guys would change between each other, and they're trying to punch, kick, and do whatever submissions they could to me, and all I'm doing is to be just staying out of range, clinching them, throwing them down or taking them down, and slapping on amateur wrestling moves, turning them illegal, and that was my submission. So I always tell people when I showed up to my first UFC, I did not know how to throw a single punch. I did not know any real submissions. Even when they're getting the tail of the tape, because they did a Friday night press conference, because there was no weigh-ins, because there's no weight classes, so it was just a press conference. So you showed up there with there'd be 4 guys on one side, 4 guys on the other side. You'd have the MC in the middle, and they'll be like, please stand up there, Ken Shamrock, and then they'd be saying height and weight and where he hails from, and basically what his background is, and then he'd sit down. Then the next guy, then they'd pull out this bingo ball machine.
literally.
It was legit as a bingo ball machine, and there's like 8 balls, and there's like it had a name on each one, so it spin around. First ball would come out. Okay, it's Royce Gracie, and they spin the next one. Okay, Ken Shamrock, match number 1. You literally found out less than 24 hours before who your first opponent is.
Do you think it was good that way, or like the way it is today? Meaning you
Well,
got
to me-
you get a full training camp. I'm not saying everybody does, but let's say you're Uriah Faber or somebody like that, or DC or whoever. You spend 6 months, training. You know who your opponent's going to be, unless they change it at the last second, right?
I think from a competitor's perspective, that's better. But if you want to think from an entertainment value, find out that the night before, oh, come on, that's great.
I prefer it raw, personally.
Yeah.
Meaning like, all right, you and you. Do it. Get it done. Let's see who can.
Here's a classic example of that, of what you're talking about right now. When they finally had the Super Championship matches taking place,